there. And just say thank you all so much for coming and joining. It feels like a hearty group here close to the fire. So thank you. Welcome to the Open Pollinators Future Lab. That's a sort of renegade extension of the international gathering Breathing with the Climate Crisis, which started this morning, or this afternoon, this morning for us. We've had a nice kind of small opening to the day here, kicking it off and logging on, and we did a little woodworking, and before I started cutting the wood, I thought about Stephen and Gloria and the prayer they do to the cows before they kill it, and I just thought, I really felt the sacredness of just saying, blessings to the wood, and it really, just this hope for integrity with every aspect of our will that we have to bring. So that, just wanted to share that. Supported me hearing about y'all's work here just today. And this call, maybe you looked in or read, but it's basically an opportunity to start to hear and connect around the question of agriculture and youth, which really means everyone, because everyone's connected to the youth and everyone's connected to agriculture, but particularly to feature different people, working out of agriculture, whether it be young farmers or, heroic long-timers who've been transforming this earth out of ideals and struggles all the way. And can there be room for friends in all parts of the spectrum to share what's living now, so we can see what can really be begun or continued or brought further into health out of what's living here. And yeah, just want to say thank you. So just a little quick overview. We'll start here, and we'll just pass to Dario Paul to welcome and give a little qualitative round. And this is also Zuri's co-hosting with me and main timekeeper. She's going to introduce the speakers tonight, Dana and Beth. Dana Burns and Beth Corymb. And then if that conversation will be about a half hour, and then Stefan will introduce the kind of shared plenum in a Goethean conversation way. And then our shared conversation will be around a half hour, and we'll just have a little closing time after to wrap up and look at the next day. And yeah, it's a little bit there. Don't know if there's anything you want to add as well.
I think that covers it. Yeah.
Okay, good. So any introductory questions while we are all still landing here on the forum, or any details that would be helpful? One nice aspect is to mute your microphone if you're not speaking. Hi, Elizabeth. And yeah, that'll just help those who are in the front sharing. And take another minute or so and see if friends want to land.
Hey y'all, good to see you. Just to let you know, we have a group here and our dinner was running a little late, so they're cleaning up and they'll be out in a little bit. Good to see you.
Does everybody know how to use the chat function in this? Is that going to be, I'm just thinking maybe everybody can just throw in where they're in the chat, just a little hello and where you're calling in from. We can get a sense of place, and particularly for the groups that are in New York, who all's there with you. Or you got a group in Stephen and Gloria got a group too. We didn't know that you were hosting a gathering.
Introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
No. But nice. We didn't hear your introduction. It got cut off, but I hope everybody's seeing all these names and places come in. Some folks from Wisconsin, Linda from Chicago, upstate New York. Alex calling in from Florida. Cool, and the Spring Valley group and the Hawthorne Harlemville group are going to join forces, it sounds like, tomorrow. So I just wanted to start us off with a little thought from Albert Steffen, and I have to thank Frank for putting this little book up on the U section website to peruse. It's called A Pilgrimage to the Tree of Life, and it's a pretty amazing little piece of writing. And so I thought it kind of builds. I'll share a little excerpt every day as a source of inspiration. And here's this one for today. There really are things on earth which deserve our admiration and the struggle to become worthy of them. Such a friend is the river. He is unfailing in beauty and strength. He cleanses me and gives me steadiness of purpose. He enters into the very movements of my body and teaches me to laugh once more. His indescribable freshness pervades my whole being, so that I find it very stupid to complain that I am not suited to the earth. At any rate, I suit him, and for him I can never be too full of the joy of life. And if I love him, then I also love the meadows through which he flows, the creatures which he sustains, and the works which he performs. I am possessed of an overflowing joy I can give, and therefore I seek out other people once more. And so I wanted to share that little segment. It feels like, Albert Steffen's response to this question of how can the earth bear my footprint? And maybe his invitation is that through our relationship, we can get filled up with the earth so that we kind of, that question almost answers itself in a way. So there's a question of how can we know who's here? How can we bring everybody into the room? This is a request from Beth in being able to speak, that she know who she's speaking to. And so you know, it's a challenge to do that in a limited way, but want to invite, we have a few more people coming in. Want to invite each of us to just say your name, just offer a word of greeting. Maybe if there's a whole group, have to see how to do that. But yeah. I don't know, and some inspiration that you're living with in just a few words around coming into this conversation this evening. So maybe for the groups, maybe there's a spokesperson who can speak kind of on behalf of the group. And let's start in Chicago.
Hi, I'm Zuri Burns. I'm here in Chicago, and I am having this question about healing between people all around the world, and agriculture and the land and the planet, and how that can happen. Frank?
Frank, looking at the yes, the healing power of music. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Hey, friends. Dottie, Zold. I just say I'm really happy to be here and to see young people and farmers and the opportunity for things to be lifted up and made more visible so that we can actually strengthen the future together, build a larger, wider community. So I'm really thankful to be here. Thank you to the youth section for bringing us all together.
Thanks, Dottie.
Oh, sorry. This is Elizabeth from Southern Wisconsin. I might be the closest to Chicago. And I'm a gem carver, and I love the earth so much, and water especially. So that was wonderful opening. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping to build an intentional community, anthroposophical, in the Midwest, or join one existing to bring it to the earth and spread it all over. Thank you.
Thanks. About an upstate New York there.
Hey, can you all hear us?
Yep,
Yeah.
we hear you.
Hi, I'm Stephan Ambrose, and we're here. Do people want to also say their names?
Sure. Hi, my name is Catherine. I used to work on a farm in Camp Hill around here, and I recently joined an organic farm that's not anthroposophical, but I'm hoping to bring what I've learned and what I'm continuing to learn to this farm.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I grew up on an organic farm, and I'm interested in learning more about dynamics.
Well, I can say, yeah, I work at Hawthorne Valley Farm, and I grew up on a homestead. It wasn't a productive farm, but you know, with all the animals and horses and stuff. My main interest is really, what do our elders want to share with us that that I can't even know is a question. Like, looking back, what would they have wanted to know at our age? And yeah, in particular, I think for me, it's around like coming to commitment and the feeling of like sacrifice that I feel it takes to be to enter into the practice of agriculture.
Hi, my name's Kira. Happy to be here. Yeah, I've been farming the last couple of years and excited to, yeah, learn from everybody here.
Hi, Franz Eilers. Grew up on a farm in California, but I'm really interested to hear from our people today.
Hey, I'm Emma. I don't know, well, you know, agriculture is a big part of everything. Here we are.
Yeah, thanks for.
I'm Daniel. Glad to be here. And my interest is in building the temple of the earth, what the earth is wanting to be, which involves building the temple in the human alongside. And so how do we do that?
Thanks, Franz.
We're not
What are you, Gareth?
Hey, I'm Gareth, and I have a lot of, well, increasing number of Black farmer friends, and I'm really inspired by their work and wondering lots of questions around land and agriculture land, especially for BIPOC community friends, and how I can support that.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
It's always better to talk with mute off. I'm Elizabeth Carney. I'm coming to you from the southern end of Salmon Nation down in San Francisco. I'm really interested in working more with agriculture up in the Pacific Northwest. And what do I want you to know about me? One of my grandfathers was a doctor. The other one was a farmer back in Indiana. And so no surprise, I like to use food for medicine. So that's how I come to be in biodynamics. It's so important.
Thanks, Elizabeth. And Spring Valley friends, you want to check in?
Hi, so we are coming from Spring Valley, New York, and there are going to be more of us joining for the whole of the conference, but only 3 of us could make it this evening. But we're very happy to be a part of it, especially in these pandemic times where we can feel so isolated. We so appreciate this effort of just finding ways to come together and be in community and connect. So I'm Melissa, and this is Luna and Carly. Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for being here. Ari, are you there? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, my name is Ari, and I'm out in California at the Have Seeds House. And my interest is, I love farming, and my interest is in helping pollinators. Monarchs are super endangered out here. So I have an initiative with the Have Seeds House Monarch Fellowship. It's monarchfellowship.com. And I'm interested in creating safe spaces for pollinators with no pesticides and helping those populations, birds, bees, butterflies.
Thanks, Ari. Alex? We'll come back to Alex. How about you guys, Gloria and Stefan at Live Power? You want to say hi?
Hey everybody, I'm Cora and I'm here with Charles and Gloria and Stephen on Live Power Farm in Covelo, California. And yeah, just happy to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And we're all learning about sacrifice, and it's a two-way street depending on how you look at it. It's very important. And we're building a temple. We've been building a temple, but it needs all the people.
Thank you. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
We hear you, yeah.
Okay, I'm Jeff from Chile, Wisconsin. I'm going to be heading down to Chicago tomorrow. Yeah, I'm neither youth nor elder, so sort of here in that in-between space. I'm a CSA farmer in Wisconsin for the last 15 years or so. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Walter.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome.
So I'm Walter Goldstein, and I live up in southeastern Wisconsin. And I'm really excited to meet you younger people. And tomorrow I'll be talking a bit about what we were up to. But love to hear your questions. And I like the one about what we would have liked to have heard about when we were your age. And so I'll be talking more tomorrow with you guys.
Thanks, Walter. Welcome back, Alex.
I got kicked
We also lost our Harlemville group. Alex, you want to speak into the space for a minute?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Alex. I'm calling in from Florida, from northern Florida. I'm just happy to be here. Mostly just interested to see where this conversation can go, because it's really hard to connect with people outside of your echo chamber if you don't actually communicate with them. So that's all.
Great. Thank you. Dana, Phil, and James.
Hello.
Hey,
We're
guys.
here in southeastern Wisconsin as well. Phil and Dana here have a small farm with horses and sheep and chickens. And I've been working on a forestry crew for about a quarter year. And Dana will be speaking later.
Well, I'm Phil. I'm a veterinarian, so I've been involved in agriculture my whole career, even though I do a lot of horse work, but I'm keenly interested in the future and being a part of that process.
I'm Dana. I'll be speaking soon, so I'll keep it to the one word idea and I'll say future.
Thanks, Dana. Linda, welcome.
Hi, this is Linda, and I'm in the suburbs of Chicago right now. And the one word I was thinking of when you said it was peace, just feeling inner peace, but also peace with what is. And can we bring that out into the world more, or hold peace for what's going on? And earlier when Frank invited me to this, I really felt this excitement for people coming together and the excitement of creating something maybe better and actually really healing and sustainable for our planet. So there's just excitement about us just coming together and doing this kind of, it's like a love. So I'm thankful for that. So thank you.
Thanks, Linda. And finally, Anthony.
Hi, everyone. I'm in upstate New York as well, farmer and farm educator. And let's see, a quick word. Yeah, I guess just having true conversation and asking questions to life, not one's own sort of existential life, but the life of the earth or plants or animals. How do we grow that capacity?
Thanks, Anthony. And finally, Beth, do you want to check in? We'll introduce Beth a little bit more in a minute.
Sorry, I was trying to click on my picture. Unmute, didn't work. Yeah, thank you. Is everything connected?
Nice. Well done.
And
All right,
Ariel Paul.
Oh yeah, and I'm Ariel Paul. I'm Nelson, British Columbia, West Kootenays, homeland of the Sinaiaks traditional territories. Yeah, surrounded by mountains here.
Okay, we got welcome Glacy hopping in. We just did a round of sharing. Glad you're here. We're gonna just about to start the main event here, but I wonder if you just want to share where you're calling from and maybe a question that's on your heart from today or your life. So Glacy, that's all. Maybe her audio's still coming. You can just listen to it. All right. Well, I know she's got those questions, but we'll just let them be spacious. Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring in, Ariel Paul, before I move to the next part?
No, let's go.
Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, really glad you could host that. So lovely. And thanks, Beth, for inviting that space that we can hear from everyone. We thought it might go a little longer, but we'll see how the community grows through the days, and glad everyone could share something here. So just would like to lightly introduce Beth, Corymb, and Dana Burns for the first conversation, which was the last and became the first, because that's how karma would have it. So won't say too much because we really want to hear about people's journeys, but Beth is coming, collaborating with her partner Nathan on the Meadowlark Hearth. Yeah, I really just want to let her share a story and not tell too much away, but really significant as we got this project going. Everyone is saying, well, have you talked to Beth yet? If you want to talk about this, you got to talk to Beth because she's doing this. And so she's the last one to hop on board, but she pushed this whole shape in and was like, everyone needs a question. What are you here for? Are you here? Come on now. She was like cheerleading the emails like I've never seen. I'm like, you're quite the pollinator. That's the fact. So it shows up in the internet too. And Dana Burns, also really excited to hear about. There's so many things going on in Dana's world. I'm not sure you'll actually ever be able to know, from world activism in the land to carrying the raising Zuri I want to know if you want to hand something before she gets started. So
Sure. So Dana is my mom, and she's a veterinarian. She's also worked in farm-based education and done some international projects. For me, she's always been someone with a lot of thoughts and ideas that she is bringing into the world. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Mom. Welcome. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity. As already said, my name is Dana Burns. I'm a veterinarian. I've worked to incorporate acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and anthroposophic medicines into veterinary care. Together with Walter's wife, I founded a farm-based education program. And I've worked at URL Pharmacy and founded an organization that works with sustainable agriculture in Africa. And through all this, I found that there are many things that work. But tonight at this conference, I want this to be a call to arms to all of us. Because the reality is that we are under threat. The ecological systems that sustain our very lives on this planet are under serious threat. Our freedoms and choices to have autonomy over our own lives and health are now under threat. The availability of human necessities like clean water and clean food grown on healthy soil is under threat. So I want all of us to ask ourselves and each other, what will you do to make a more livable, equitable world? Regarding farmland specifically, between 1992 and 2012, 31 million acres of farmland in America were lost to development. That is 175 acres per hour and 3 acres per minute. Climate change is and will make this worse. There are rising ocean levels in coastal areas. Saltwater intrusion takes away more farmland. The population is driven inland, putting more pressure on farmland. Climate change makes some areas too wet to farm and other land too dry. Regenerative farming practices will help, but if the farmland is lost to development, the carbon will be re-released into the atmosphere. I grew up in a suburb of Denver, Colorado. My parents came from a long line of agriculturists. They were of the generation that fled as far and as fast as possible from the hard work on the farms. For me, though, my grandparents' farm was my first and most important love. For me, the trajectory of farmland has been like this. When I was a child, my grandparents' farm was part of a vibrant farm community that was economically thriving and culturally interdependent. The vista in any direction revealed only beauty and unblemished rolling farmland. Today, the farm is rapidly becoming an island. A wall of menacing-looking, hideously spaced luxury homes is marching steadily from the west. A sea of Starbucks, Barnes & Noble, Event Center, FedEx plant, rehab center, Agrion, car dealerships, Target, hospital, Nutrien, Coca-Cola bottling, Qdoba, Best Buy, and on and on and on is marching steadily from the north. The Fortune 500 government contractor asphalt plant, Martin Marietta Materials, and horrendous fracking wells are marching steadily from the east. And the relatively benign cement plant and gravel pit are ready to dig at our doorsteps to the south. The infrastructure that once supported farmer supply lines, farm culture, equipment, and harvesting distribution channels is now mostly gone. There are now busy roads that enable and help move and attract as many people as possible to upscale malls. Our road that was once a charming, sleepy gravel road is now a difficult to cross, busy paved main thoroughfare, soon to become a 4-lane highway called Colorado Boulevard, because it is to extend to the Colorado Boulevard 60 miles away in Denver. It is now a conduit for large cement trucks carrying cement and asphalt. There are many stores in close proximity, but one must navigate a very long string of stoplights before finding a hardware or farm supply store. There is no regular grocery store, let alone one that offers healthy food choices around for miles. This same pattern of rural, high-quality farmland giving way to first low-density residential, which then gives way to other development, is recognized and repeated across the country. As the pattern goes, soon the allure of the bigger dollar, ushered in by higher land prices, is much more attractive than trying to fight the trajectory. And why does the landscape around our farm now look like this? Because my relatives, our neighbors, and our friends have almost entirely sold out at least one of their land, their water rights, their mineral rights, their access. They've sold to large corporations of one sort or another. And why? Because the choice of making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars by signing a piece of paper compared to the endless toil and hassle and resource depletion of farming seems easy. One of the only other agricultural holdouts in the area is also owned by my family. It is farmed conventionally. That conventional farm brings in $128 per acre per year and is almost hassle-free to manage. Our certified organic farm, on the other hand, brings in $34 per acre per year, along with a huge myriad of challenges and needs, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in investment in housing for farmers needed, hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment in equipment needed, more liability, lack of skilled labor, and extremely complex social dynamics. To compare both of these, an acre zoned for business land with utilities brings in $17,000 per month per acre for rent. So if you own land, which one would you do? I have many prayers for our farm and the area. Just one of them is that the light of the magical mating dance of the fireflies on our farm, which are often the first or only fireflies that many farm visitors have ever seen, can withstand the myriad of lights from the housing developments, the security lights from the industries, and the glaringly blinding lights of the fracking wells, and not have their light extinguished forever by our culture's incessant march for the dollar. We are under threat. This is a call to arms. What will you do? There are many possible roles to play, and all roles are needed. One of the very fine young farmers that answered our call for farmers articulated best what almost all of the young farmers, at least those who don't have independent wealth, expressed in one way or another. I have worked on all types of sustainable farms around the country. All of the farmers your age, meaning mine, are broken in mind, body, spirit, or all of them. And I decided that I don't want to follow that path. Who can blame him? That is probably smart. We need your generation to find even better and smarter ways and more effectively sustainable ways. Unfortunately, or fortunately, you will probably have to forge the path a lot on your own. For the most part, no one showed the path towards sustainability and healing to our generation. We had to stumble and fall, get back up, and trudge on and on. The older generation of biodynamic farmers, represented by the STEAM panel here, have already heard and followed the call to arms for most of their lives. They have persevered and persevered and persevered and sacrificed. Some may have sacrificed their health. Others, maybe their happiness. They have often sacrificed their freedom, and pretty assuredly they have sacrificed their money. They are heroes, and they have much wisdom and knowledge. They have found many solutions. You younger generations will have to learn from them, and you'll have to learn to find even more solutions. And now it is my pleasure to give the screen to Beth Corymb. Thank you.
Wow. That was excellent. So it's real important when we say call to arms that we remember our source who can really stand for us as Michael. I am about 3 hours north of Denver, but in that funny thing that looks like a so-called thick panhandle on the state of Nebraska. And we are on 500 acres. I am 4th generation in the area and 3rd generation on this farm. It was a hay farm for a dairy by my grandparents. My grandfather saw the Depression coming, and he had a 100-cow dairy, which is a huge dairy for the beginning of the last century, 1900. And he had a lot of land, and he was so overwhelmed that he couldn't take it, and he took his own life. My father wanted to be a pilot, and he was studying in Boulder, and he was asked to come home and take on the farm, which he did. And he told the bank, I never want to know what's in my bank account unless I'm overdrawn. And that way he protected himself from worrying too much. He played the cello. He had a large herd. Well, it wasn't a huge herd, but it was a cow-calf operation, up to 100 cows. We had more land then. And so I grew up here, and when I didn't do much except for drive the truck for the cutting of the corn to put into silage or green chop to feed to the cows. And my dad would have to route me out of bed to do that. Otherwise, I was busy practicing the piano and ended up studying piano performance, which really prepared me well for farming. Actually, it did, because being there and having to do experience something that is very close to the etheric world of music, it gave me something that I treasure. And so I during my last year, I had to take a class to do my science requirements, because I had avoided them until the very last semester. And I had a class in ecology and learned of some of the detriment that was going on, and therefore told myself not to forget about our farm. I returned and tried to do something on the farm, but really didn't have the skill. And my father was going blind. So I left and did various kinds of internships in California. And then well, then I went to Camp Hill in Pennsylvania. But right after college, when I came back, I realized how much of a war zone the agriculture was around the farm in farm area where I grew up, with the spray planes going over. And I just really wanted to do something about it. So I then went to Camp Hill Village in Kimberton Hills, and then I wanted to get back to the middle of the country to do something about the middle of the country, because I felt like there were a lot of people being interested about biodynamics and organic agriculture, but they were not really based in the area that I was from. So we went to Camp Hill. I met Nathan in Kimberton and married there, and then we went to Camp Hill, Minnesota. And we learned that there was a seed internship, and Nathan applied, and we went to Switzerland to train at or Nathan trained at the first biodynamic seed company in Switzerland. And we had the opportunity there to really see in Switzerland a kind of agriculture that really had the touch of the elemental to it. But we came back after a year and a half intending to begin a seed company, and there were lots of surprises laying wait for us, like Lyme's disease, etc. And so we got through that. And one of the things that I'll say that is really important that Dana brought up is, or alluded to, is tenacity. One has to have a lot of tenacity. But you also don't need to be a farmer to live on a farm. You don't have to give up your career that's, to be a ballerina, or to be a scientist, or to be a woodworker or a mechanic. There's farms, albeit dwindling, but they're everywhere. And now we need to build farm communities. And thank you, Elizabeth, the first Elizabeth, there's a lot of Elizabeths tonight, for bringing up community on farms, because through Camp Hill, I really saw that in action, and that is what we're trying to develop here. We have 3 businesses, and we also have an educational component. The 3 businesses are one business, but they have 3 arms, and one is the cow-calf beef and dairy. Dairy is picked up locally. Beef is marketed here and regionally. And then we have year-round vegetables, not because we're California climate, it's actually about 0 degrees right now, but because we've worked with varieties that were bred in Europe, such as the various kinds of cabbages and celery root and etc. I'm sure you all that are involved with vegetables know those. And we have learned how to sow in the autumn and overwinter And so we have a year-round CSA, as well as now I'm really proud of the fact that we're kind of getting our foot in the door at the public school and bringing food there. For instance, we have a contract with High Mowing to grow red sweet peppers called King of the North. And so this year we took the peppers to their certified kitchen and cut the tops off, took the tops with the seed home and processed the seed and left them the bottoms of the bell peppers. That was really fun. So they put it in their mix of tacos. We also try to do social work, and we have, and the last part of that business is seed work. And we have an online seed company, as well as selling to larger companies around the United States. So you can buy seed from us if you'd like. We'd also love to have you stop by, but we also have we were given the use of the New York City lawyers after we stopped managing turtle tree seed, which we brought to Camp Hill Copake and gave to them and managed it for 12 years. And then when we were leaving, the executive director gave us, or prior to that, just before we left, gave us the possibility to use their New York City lawyer to develop a nonprofit. And so we have an educational component. We've had deaf people come and learn with us and teach us sign language, and then we teach them farming. We've had various people from around the area come with their various interests and special needs, and we also have interns on the farm. By Monday, we will be 7 people here. Right now we're 5. We're receiving a couple from the East Coast. So I guess that's all I want to say, except that anybody that has any questions or wants to use us as a sounding board for what you're thinking of agriculturally, or you're interested in growing seed, or you can contact us through Meadowlark Hearth. That's Meadowlark like the bird and hearth like the fireplace at gmail.com. That's meadowlarkhearth@gmail.com. And finally, Nathan is he's near Yellowstone now. He's doing just for the month of February, he's working with a group of Native Americans and a group of other people that are, I guess, Caucasian, and they're working together to do a buffalo hunt to help the population of the buffalo outside of Yellowstone. And Nathan is very interested in rewilding and learning. He sleeps out year round, once a week in the sand hills, or not the sand hills, the hills, the Wildcat Hills that are near our farm. And yeah, so that's who he is. I'm real sorry that you all can't meet him, because he's definitely got a lot of things to offer. Okay, sorry, I hope I probably took too long, so sorry about that.
No apologies allowed.
Thank you, Beth. No, you're right on time. We decided to extend it anyway so we could all speak together. That was really powerful. Thank you, Beth and Mom. And so now we're moving towards our dialogue section. Did either of you have anything else you wanted to share before Stefan introduces the dialogue? We have about 5 more minutes if one of you had any wrapping up things.
I'll just say thank you to Beth, and I loved how she answered my call to arms with Michael, because as you could hear, all the tenacity that Beth has been through, and Nathan, and I really love the buffalo. I didn't know about that, but they've done so many things and invited so many people and included them in their farms, which takes a lot of energy, a lot of grit. So that is a question for all of us, is how do we sustain that to carry through in what needs to happen? Thank you.
Could I just add, yeah, I mean, we really need to recognize that there's a really interesting lecture that Steiner gave about the continents. And so that's really how we got to naming Turtle Tree. The tree is the Mississippi, and the turtle, we all know what the turtle is, but it's really important to be to know the middle of the country. And I can't emphasize enough how I feel that if we don't do some things in the middle of the country with anthroposophy, we're going to lose our progress that we've made on the edges of the turtle. So please keep that in mind. And also keep in mind threefolding. There's a great book that Anthony's wife wrote with Gary Lamb. If you haven't looked into it, it's a compendium of Rudolf Steiner's threefolding ideas, and it's called Steinerian Economics. Please get a hold of it and study it with with other people, because the important thing is the activity with other human beings. And keep in mind that the most highest sense is the sense of ego, which is not your own, but the sense of the other one that has an ego. And lastly, the foundation stone rhythms, daily rhythms, anchor me. I'm not very good at sitting down and doing my meditation, but if you don't know those daily rhythms, it really helps you think about the threefolding, which is really what's going to bring us through to the other side. I truly believe it. I mean, I truly experience it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Beth. Yeah, thank you both, Dana as well. What a powerful.
Can I mention something here? Okay, I ran for office in the local area. I spent a lot of time at city meetings, county meetings, and the most old boy network, you might say, in the area, they had a very deep desire to have a green belt around our cities. So I think we can use that to gather commitments from governments who really, because I've heard hundreds of people come to talk to say they want the green space as they travel from city to city. And that's how cities should be planned, not solid wall-to-wall strip malls. So that's, I'm really policy and politics. So that's
going to be really big. And I think that's the really awesome. I think this concept of the green belt, let's bring that one in. And there's a lot of organizing that we're going to need to do. And that's, it's really helpful to have this practical reality, because that's really where the rubber meets the road on our ideals, is how are these going to flow. So thank you, Elizabeth, for bringing these action pictures. I just want to, before we open up the space for the dialogue, hand the mic to Stefan, one of our co-organizers, who's going to introduce a little bit of a quality of the Goethean conversation and invite us into the shared space in the call together. But thank you, Stefan.
So maybe we can all just take a moment to close our eyes and hear resounding within ourselves everything that Beth and Dana just shared. And after listening for a moment, you may find a particular voice that's speaking, or a picture, or a color. Or you may just hear the sounds in the room. But what we want to do is to listen. And if we can grasp that voice or that picture or that color, or even just in using our hearing to hear the space around us, then maybe we can find something to speak out of. And when we listen to others speak from that place, maybe we can take space from our own thought. Maybe we can give space to them and not think about what we want to say or what might come next or what's going to happen after the call. And when they're through sharing, we may find that something is burning in us, something wants to be spoken, and we might want to add and build on what was spoken before. So I just wanted to offer this as a practice as we begin our shared conversation to listen to each other and to build on each other's thought. And just to open that space. What's burning in me is, I feel simultaneously the grief and incredible gratitude and admiration for the two presenters. I really appreciate your intimate sharing and experiencing the difficulty, but the care that you brought to your lives and work. So thank you.
Along those lines, I'd also like to honor Stephen and Gloria, folks up in Live Power up there. A lot of what's been said, I really feel ripples coming from you guys up there too. So I just wanted to honor you and all that you have given to the movement.
Thanks, Daniel.
So one avenue maybe towards achieving a green belt, as it were, could actually come from individual younger farmers that want to start a farm. You know, first you want to develop your farming skills, and that may mean working on existing farms. But then if you take that forward, for me, it was in Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, working with Alan Chadwick, getting my farming skills underway. But then taking it forward to access land, we began through caretaking the property that we are on now. And we could never have bought that out of our own income as farmers. We worked off the farm to begin with for several years, just to have cash for fences and whatever needed. But through working with community members, getting food from the farm, we were actually able to decommoditize the land by placing an easement on it that creates it now as a permanent farm. So I don't know what will happen around us. It's still fairly open agricultural land, but there are various, you know, fast money efforts that come in around you. In our case, it's cannabis growing. But my hope would be that if young farmers could access land, possibly through caretaking, which wouldn't require a lot of cash outlay originally, but then having a relationship with the owner and finding owners that maybe would be open in the future to selling the property, working together, then working through our agricultural community, we were able to fundraise the money necessary for the easement to be purchased to decommoditize the land. And I would hope that that kind of process could be embraced by more and more people, particularly those tenacious beginning farms and farmers.
Thank you for sharing that idea, Stephen. That would be great to see if we could get all these green belts going. I had a question, which I was wondering, Beth and Mom also bringing back what I think Stefan offered in the beginning of learning from the elders. Is there anything that you wish that you had known in your 20s or 30s going into your life's work in agriculture?
I don't see Dana, but oh, there you are. Are you going to speak?
You want me or? Oh, okay. It's a question. I guess sometimes do we want to know how hard it is, or do we want to just go in full of faith? I guess the sooner, for me, thinking, the sooner one can think of one's true mission and what one really wants to do in the world and what is important in the world, then the sooner you can start. That's what comes to mind for me.
Thank you for the question. I have to approach it from a little different place. One thing that is really important, I kind of live in the present. It's hard for me to think backwards, but I can remember what I did and what was important, and I didn't know it would be important, but I was not allowed to work our farm until my mother died. She was afraid that I was going to bring a commune to the farm, which I am. But anyway, I walked from the west end of the property to the east end of the property and didn't know what I was doing, but I said to whoever would listen, elementals or Native Americans, because it's broken treaty land and most farms are broken treaty land. How, can you please help me? Asking the people, the disembodied souls who have crossed. And I am certain they are. Not in any direct way. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm as dense as they come. But it was a really important thing to do. So wherever you are and whatever you do with the earth, remember that she's a living being and that all of us that have come and gone, that it's really important to address the people with disembodied souls. And it's also really important. We experience really extreme weather here. It's very beautiful. We can see it coming and we can see it leaving. Last year, no, 2019, we had golf ball to softball size hail. And I know that there's been some terrible things that have gone on in our country. And it's really important to raise our spirits to that awareness and to ask for help.
Thank you so much. Elizabeth Carney, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I did actually. I was drawn into the question of how what I know now would I have wanted to know then. And what I was reflecting on was that we have these practices that we can learn individually as young people. I think it was Beth who was talking about foundation stone. There's other practices that are Steiner practices, but just daily meditation, daily rhythm kinds of things that the deeper into my decades I've gotten, the more I've discovered there being such great anchors. Like number one, I think the only way we're going to change the world is to change ourselves. So that's a good reason to work on these things no matter what age we are. But also, I think as we go into this period of more chaos, that to have individual practices where we can ground ourselves daily and just find that personal peace. And for some, that means finding their wisdom or finding their passion or listening to their guides. But those daily rhythms that include in slowing down and listening is one of the biggest messages that I've gotten from our COVID time. My knee went out. I had, right at the very beginning of our shelter in place, my knee dislocated. And so I spent much of the first year with this picture of a turtle on my knee. And like the turtle was like, just slow down and listen. And I think that's been really, that's going to continue to be really helpful for me. And I would offer that to the rest of us gathered here. Aho.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Can I mention something else happening around here?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Illinois, northern Illinois, the county just south of me is McHenry County, and they started McHenry County Conservation District about probably 40 years ago. And it passed. There was a big push, for green. So they got the public to approve, like I think 3% of all property taxes goes to fund the land there. And so there's growing saved area and farmland actually on the west side of the county. Okay, so that's one thing. We've also created a wildlife refuge here, spanning the two states. I was instrumental in that. And then I have met at Elderberries, or the library in Chicago, the Iroquois Valley Farm Initiative. They're an LLC. They're based out of Evanston. I just looked them up. And I saw the founding people a few years ago. Well, they're buying land for organic farmland and regenerative farmers. So it says an organic farmland real estate investment trust. We work with mission-driven investors to provide organic and regenerative farmers land security through long-term leases and mortgages. Our capital REIT, I don't know what that means, is incorporated as a public benefit corporation and B Corp. They're based out of Evanston. And I met a guy also in Evanston who is writing. He's a writer. He's always been in reporting and things. But he was writing a report to get a teaching farm. I think they tried to do it in Wisconsin. It fell apart. So now they're doing it near Kankakee, I think south of Chicago. And I've got to call him because he was writing it when I talked to him. And he wanted to connect with somebody in McHenry County that I was familiar with. They're all, everybody's trying in the Chicago, oh gosh, what do they call it? The Chicago wildlife area. Oh, that's not what it's called. But anyway, it spans Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin. It's the big, because it used to be a swamp. Chicago used to be a swamp. And they're working to create green belts. There's a lot of efforts in different areas for that. So it'd be good to maybe fold them into this somehow, I think.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would say I think that's, in my journey, social justice, working with Elderberries Cafe in the space and threefolding, the space of maybe this moment of cross-pollinating with others. Yeah, it feels like there's a new day here that may have come out of this devastation or what looks like devastation, but really we have it feels to me like we have an opportunity to make new friends that have the same values that we do. for earth sustainability, regenerative soil, more connection to the earth. And so I guess for me, what I hear is I hear that call to arms. I hear that call to arms, and I raise us all. You know, how do we make new friends? Who else is out there? Is this just a conversation that just ends? Is there something that's growing? Do we stay connected? How do we go forward? And how do we unite with others in the, you know, what they call the BIPOC community, also the Native American community, the people in the city? There are millions of people who are looking for land, looking to serve, looking for some way that actually don't know how to. And Carl Koenig says it's not about the what, it's about the how. So I would just, yeah, I just want to say I hear that call. And so thank you for it.
Thank you, Dottie. And I just want to say we have 5 minutes left before the closing. So if anyone also who hasn't spoken wants to say something, speak up.
Yeah, I appreciate what you just shared, Dottie. This is Anthony. Yeah, I guess just trying to also look at one of the themes we're running through this little event is intergenerational agriculture. And I would love to hear more about sort of why this is a challenge, even like we haven't, you know, sort of why doesn't this just work? Why don't we just say, here's a farm, or go ahead and have a go at it? I'll teach you a little bit. It's obviously not that simple, but what are the challenges? What have been some striving steps that people have taken in this realm of intergenerational agriculture? I know people will share later on, but wanting to sort of see that now as how do we struggle, like really just get into it right now? There are a lot of great ideas that I appreciate, but I also, not to darken it, but just be like, what is that tension? Why is there a challenge?
Thanks for bringing us back to that, Anthony.
Can I add something to that real quick?
Please.
I would say, in response to that, it's like Carl Koenig said there, Dottie, to add to that, I would say a lot of it has to do with the why. Like, why are we doing it? Which I think in biodynamics, in that it's connected to anthroposophy, I feel like it puts us in kind of a unique place to really serve something higher. And then it's not about us, it becomes a movement, as in the case of Dr. Martin Luther King.
I just want to appreciate and echo what I heard Beth and Elizabeth bringing. It's kind of just throwing another piece into the mix here of how do we work with the realms beyond ourselves, and cultivate the faculties to do that, to see what is invisible and to hear what is not sounding. And just want to say that you know, that invitation has been a really strong theme for me in my growth and in recent development. You know, this, like, when we come to that place of the kind of impossibility of the circumstance, whether that's in a relationship or in our kind of life path, just really making space for the question and yeah, kind of inviting the participation of these beings that are so much larger than ourselves, and these forces that are so much larger than ourselves to work through us.
Yeah, I'd like to just add to that, the question that kind of resuscitated for me is sometimes I just think so, it comes up so strongly, why did you come here? Like, why did you come to this place? And I think what Anthony and what you just said, you know, it's interesting, like, what's the struggle about? When I hear that question inwardly and when I live with it, it's, I mean, that strength and the beings like you're talking about seems like they support me, because I'm trying to remember why I came here and what I came here to do. And it is also just feel amazing to me how easy it is to forget that question. And so then the next thought is like, is how do I surround myself with people and or cultivate community where that question is constantly arising within me? Like, why did I come here? And what am I gonna do while I'm here?
I had a question / comment to add in response to Beth talking about Nathan helping with the buffalo work out west. I'm just curious about that as an initiative in particular, as well as in a general sense, doing that work where the bridge between agriculture is and wild culture. How do we bridge those facts of life on the planet and how we can positively be involved?
Thank you. I'm sure there are other questions present. James carries that question and moved to a house of veterinarians. So that's good. And now it continues. Yeah, so we just have a couple minutes here before we close. I just want to honor that and say thank you all for being here so much. I hope that if you're able to attend tonight and your questions, why are you here on this call, that you'll feel that you have to be here tomorrow night, along with other friends who are able to come. Tomorrow we have Anthony Mecca and Walter Goldstein sharing from the educational and the research and Biodynamics Association, Educardu, Mandamin Institute, and their personal journeys. So we're really looking forward to this kind of middle space. And I hope you can bring your questions again tomorrow. Being that we are in this Zoom and to connect it back with the conference, I just wanted to close with a little bit of a cliffhanger in the technology realm. From the leading thoughts, that is kind of one of the cultural qualities that are holding the Breathing with the Climate crisis together. I just thought this could be a good quality through this medium. Just take a minute here. The age needs a power of knowledge that rises above nature, because it has inwardly to deal with an element which is dangerously at work within its life, and which is one that has sunk below nature. Of course, what is here meant is not any sort of return to earlier states of civilization, but rather that humanity should find their way to bring the new conditions of civilization into right relation with itself and with the cosmos. As yet, there are but few who have any feeling of the important spiritual tasks of which humanity has before it. Take, for instance, electricity, hailed at its discoverer as the very soul of the natural world. Electricity must be recognized in its own peculiar power to lead down from nature to sub-nature. Only humanity must glide down with it. In the time when there was as yet no independent realm of technics apart from what may rightly be termed nature, humanity found the spirit in its contemplation of nature. Technics, becoming detached from nature, riveted our eyes to the mechanistic and material world as the scientific one whence our knowledge must henceforth be derived. It's just a middle slice there. This is the Michael letters or leading thoughts, and it's the last one, number 29. Yeah, also called the Michael mystery. So thank you so much. Also to Dornak for bringing this impulse and to have a collaboration between the agriculture section and the youth section. May these 3 evenings lead to continued collaboration ongoing. And to our regional gatherings who are here and our speakers who listened in to support the others and this community forming, yeah, all across the land. So looking forward so much to continuing tomorrow. And we'll have a song tomorrow as well. Okay, blessings.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Great to be with you. Ciao.
Hello, James.
Love Stefan. Good to see you.
I heard your